All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about facial recognition software and how it's being used by law enforcement, a really big and honestly pretty controversial topic. Everything we're going to cover today is pulled straight from a report by the technology research group Virtualization Options LLC out of Colorado. I mean, think about that for a second. It's a pretty intense thought, right? But it gets right to the core of this whole issue. This tech is incredibly powerful, and its impacts, well, it can change your life in an instant. So, we're going to unpack what it is, where it's going wrong, and what the path forward might look like. So, here's our game plan. We'll start with the basics of what facial recognition even is. Then, we'll dive into the big issues, accuracy and bias. After that, we'll look at the real-world cost of these errors, the fact that it's basically a system with no rules, and finally, what we can actually do about it. Okay, Section 1. Let's start from the top. What is facial recognition really? Because, it's a lot more than just the thing that unlocks your phone. So at its heart, it's what's called biometric technology. Basically, it uses smart algorithms to scan your face, things like the distance between your eyes, the curve of your jaw, and it translates all that into a unique mathematical code, like a digital fingerprint for your face. Then, it takes that code and checks it against a massive database to see if it can find a match. It really comes down to a three-step dance. Step 1, the software has to spot a face in an image or a video. That's detection. Step 2 is feature extraction. That's the magic part where it turns your face into that string of numbers we just talked about. And finally, Step 3 is the match, where it searches its database for that code. Sounds straightforward enough, right? Well, in theory, yeah, but this is exactly where things start to get complicated. And that complication leads us straight into the biggest issue with this technology. It's not just a question of if it works, it's a question of who it works for and who it works against. Yeah, the report from Virtualization Options LLC makes one thing crystal clear. These systems are not foolproof, not even close. They make mistakes. And when we're talking about law enforcement using this tech, a mistake isn't just a glitch. It can ruin someone's life. It can lead to an innocent person getting arrested. And here's the absolute kicker. The mistakes aren't random. This is a direct quote from the Virtualization Options LLC report, and it's critical. It points out that the tech is way less accurate for women and for people of color. So this isn't some random bug in the system. It's a deep systemic problem. It's called algorithmic bias. Just look at this data. It's pretty staggering. The error rates just shoot up for certain groups. So why does this happen? Well, the report explains that the AI is often trained on huge photo databases. The problem is, those databases are often overwhelmingly full of white male faces. So the algorithm gets really good at identifying that one group, but it's way less reliable for anyone else. The result is what you see here, a much higher chance of a false match for women and people of color. Okay, so we've seen the numbers, the cold, hard data. But what does this actually look like in real life? What happens to the person, the human being, when a flawed algorithm gets it wrong? Well, to really get a handle on the stakes here, the report brings up the case of a man named Robert Williams. And this isn't just some theoretical example. This is a real story, and it shows just how badly things can go when the system fails. So back in 2019, an algorithm made a mistake. It matched Robert Williams' driver's license photo with some fuzzy security footage of a shoplifter. The next thing he knows, police are at his house arresting him on his front lawn, right in front of his family. He was detained for 30 hours, all while insisting he had an alibi. It was only after all that investigators looked closer and realized the computer got it wrong. He was completely innocent. A story like Robert Williams really drives home the ripple effects of a false match. This isn't just, a minor inconvenience. We're talking about serious emotional trauma, a reputation that can be destroyed in an instant. And it absolutely shreds the trust between the public and law enforcement. On top of all that, it really makes you question our basic constitutional rights, like due process and privacy. And all of this points to an even bigger problem. We have this incredibly powerful tech being rolled out all over the country, but there's no rule book. It's like we're building the plane while it's flying. At the heart of this whole debate is this fundamental tension, this balancing act. On one hand, you have the argument for public safety. Proponents say, look, this can help us solve crimes, find missing persons. It's a powerful tool. But on the other hand, you have our civil liberties, our right to privacy, our freedom to assemble without being tracked, our protection against being searched without a good reason. So the huge question is, how do we get the good stuff without giving up our fundamental freedoms? And that brings us to this number, 0. That's the number of comprehensive federal laws in the U.S. that regulate how police can use facial recognition. 0. It's a legal vacuum. So without federal rules, what we have is this messy patchwork quilt of laws. Congress has kicked around a few ideas, but nothing has stuck. So it's left up to individual states and cities. Some places, like in California and Illinois, have put bans on it. Others have some light rules. But there's no consistency. The rules that apply to you could literally change just by driving across a state line. Okay, so the situation is messy, to say the least, but the good news is the report doesn't just leave us with the problems, it actually lays out a potential path forward. And it's not just one simple fix. The report suggests we need to attack this from multiple angles. We need to push for better accuracy and less bias in the tech itself. We need way more transparency and accountability from police about how they're using it. We need strong, independent oversight to check their work. We need better privacy protections for everyone. And this is so important, we need to actually talk to the communities that are most impacted by all of this. Let's zoom in on one of those ideas. Data minimization. It's a really key concept for privacy. The idea is simple. You only collect and hold on to the absolute smallest amount of data you need for the specific reason you need it. Nothing more. It's the total opposite of just scooping up tons of information on everyone. It's about being precise and protecting innocent people's privacy. And really, what this all comes down to is that this isn't about being anti-technology. It's about being pro-responsibility. It's not about slamming the brakes on innovation, but about building some guardrails to make sure we're steering it in a direction that respects our values. Values like fairness, justice, and privacy. So let's just quickly recap the main takeaways. 1. The tech is flawed with serious biases. 2. These flaws cause real harm to real people. 3. It's basically the Wild West out there with no comprehensive rules. And 4. The only way forward is through a real commitment to making it more accurate, transparent, and accountable. So that leaves us with one final big question. Because this technology, it's not going away, it's only getting more powerful. And the choice we have to make isn't just about what the tech can do, but what we will and won't allow it to do. It really comes down to this. What lines are we going to draw in the sand?